The troubling thing is I'm starting to feel on a daily basis that his behavior is so un-American. It's almost like there's a principle, the point of these arrests, the point of a lot of the ICE arrests, and they had these paratroopers land on a housing project in Chicago. But the point was to shoot a scene out of Apocalypse Now. The point was to make it look cruel, to make it look like a war movie. I guess this placates the base by these cruel feats of 4 cops beating up an old man, with a weed whacker or paratrooping this building. There's an appetite right now, and I was thinking about it. There's such an appetite for the need of leadership, or of our country coming together, right, and being unified. And I think our president has had every opportunity. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk and other recent events, there's been amazing opportunities and a need, a thirst for leadership, and there's nothing. We're getting nothing. If you're not doing your job, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? We need a leader. We need someone to say, all Americans. Rudy Giuliani, when he was mayor, right before 9/11, his popularity was crash and burn because Rudy's true colors, which we all know, right? The hair dye dripping down the face, Rudy. Back then, like his popularity as a mayor was just crashing. And after 9/11, the appetite and the need, right, for leadership, regardless of whether you were a cop, fireman, Wall Street investment banker, doctor, lawyer. I lived in Lower Manhattan and lost my oldest friend. And was involved and smelt it. And I really believe if you were in Lower Manhattan after 9/11, you were in the play. You were part of it. On a daily basis, you were affected. You were traumatized. Right? That's it. If you lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, or you lived in Texas, you saw the movie on CNN or wherever. But regardless of whether I liked President George Bush or whoever happened to be in power, that also was such a national moment. And people coming together and needed leadership. Granted, hyperspace 10 years, after that, things went, I don't even want to discuss the deplorable behavior our country did because of 9/11. But I'm just talking about the need for someone to bring us together. And it's not that hard to do. Even Rudy was able to do it. But Donald Trump doesn't want to do it. I think he takes pleasure in not wanting to lead. The wonderful thing about a democracy, right, as opposed to authoritarianism or a dictator, when people are living in fear. In a democracy, everyone can come together and to do these massive feats of motivational projects. And I was thinking about the Empire State Building and the origin of how quickly that came about. In the midst of the Great Depression, the tallest building in the world became a national pride for America. And it was done by mostly immigrants in assembly line fashion. The building of this public work. It's fantastic. Even competition with Russia. Remember with Russians with Sputnik and the moon, going to the space race and NASA. One thing about NASA is I don't think Republican or Democrat. I don't think of partisanship when I think of the space race. But that was something which brought our country together. And once the United States, once America, once we realized our democracy, that, oh my God, Russia's ahead of us. It's amazing what people can do. It's amazing what countries can do when they feel ownership, and it's a beautiful aspect of the American democracy. Right now, we're in the midst of an authoritarian takeover, but we have a wonderful history. We have an awful history too, but we have a wonderful history of accomplishments and transcending terrible times. This happens to be a terrible time. But one thing I'm certain about, the thirst and appetite for leadership is never more prevalent than it's been in my memory.